Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
It's live.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
All right, greetings and welcome to Live Talk. I am your host, Arthur Jeremiah, alongside my co-host, the minister, Samuel.
Welcome back again to Live Talk.
Yes. And we have a nice show set up for you guys today. But before we get into that, let's go to our general statement and disclaimer.
General statement. Live Talk is proudly powered by TBS Goodwill, Builders of the Highway Foundation, and Men of Purpose. Together, we're bringing about awareness to the everyday challenges facing individuals, communities, and our nation. We tell our stories, listen to yours, and always respect different perspectives. Want to share your voice? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com to be a guest, or if you would like to contribute to our mission, purpose, go to livetalkorl.com to give a donation. Disclaimer. Information provided during this event and others to come does not constitute the official opinion of Live Talk or its affiliate entities. It is strongly recommended that viewers seek independent expert advice regarding any topics discussed, as legal requirements differ significantly across jurisdictions and are subject to frequent changes. If you have questions or concerns, you can always email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Facebook and or Instagram at Live Talk Orlando.
Right. All right. We have to get that out of the way. Our disclaimer. It pretty much protects us. We talk about a lot of different stuff on this show.
Yes.
And we try to have experts on that can attest to some of the information. But when laws change, we just try to have those disclaimers in place for that reason. So how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing wonderful. Yeah, just because this Live Talk is, we want to really engage the mind. This is to get you thinking, and then once you start thinking, we want you acting.
Yes.
The key is, depending on where you are, your actions may be different from someone else.
Right, indeed.
But we want to get you on the road to action. We just want to make sure you take the right action.
Right. So we're gonna be talking about a lot today. When the last time? Since the last time I've been to Europe.
Yes. You've been traveling.
Right. Oh man, I forgot to bring you what I got for you too, and I'm supposed to give it to you on the show.
Oh wow, I was supposed to get a souvenir
On the show. You're gonna love it.
international souvenir.
What I got you, over in Europe, right? They believe heavily in olives, right? So I got you some olive oil.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So it's a beautiful gift.
Got one for real. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So while we do that, we're gonna take a quick minute. We want to get into the show, but how was your trip?
No, it was beautiful. It's when you get an opportunity and you can, please visit the rest of the world, because it's truly a fascinating thing, I would say.
Okay.
And I believe in this here. I believe in that the whole earth belongs to us. and so why not visit what belongs to you, which is a part of the whole earth.
It's a big one.
It is. And we have to be able to get out there and kind of enjoy it. I was over in I think it was Mykonos, and I didn't know Mykonos, they was known for having the most beautiful beaches in the world. The water was so clear over there, like
Wow.
it was amazing. And in the water now, there's no sharks in this water.
Ooh, I
Because
like that.
right. Because the salt water is too much for them.
Mm.
So I didn't know that. So you learn a lot of things when you travel too that you didn't know before. So
Okay.
it's beautiful, when you're able to get out and travel and see parts of the world. I
Yep.
mean, it's a fan that it's phenomenal.
Yep. Being
It
able to
truly is.
experience it and see it for yourself.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's a lot bigger. As much as we love our community, the planet is a lot bigger than our community.
It sure is. It sure is. But we try to bring that information back to our community so we can better our community, because a lot of the things I heard while I was over there about all the different, things that we eat here,
Yes.
how bad it is for us. Even when it was talking about the olive oil, like we went to an olive oil museum and they make it there. They manufacture it there. And they talked about some of the olive oils that we get out of the grocery stores and stuff like that. And I can attest to that, because sometimes we'll see ingredients in the store,
Yep.
but if you go to the website of that actual company, you'll see the actual ingredients that that company is putting in whatever foods that they're producing. And it's sad that they don't disclose that when you're picking it up in the store. They disclose some of it, but not all of it. So it's important that we go to, if we really on making sure that we're checking our ingredients and our products. Go to the website, go to the company website. You'll find out probably more information, and then you'll find out frequently asked questions, so that it kind of answer your questions as well. um but yeah, it was a joy, and I'm happy to be back. People say they can go to other places. I'm happy to be back.
Yes. Get your feet on the ground and then get your internal clock back in sync.
Right.
Because when you're over there, they on a different time zone.
Mhm.
So it probably take I don't know if you got back on sync yet.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Like 6-7 hours. It was 6 hours, and then we traveled to Greece, and it went back another hour. So it was 7 hours. So I was like, whoa. And it put us back
You
7
wake
hours.
up and it's like the sun is normally supposed to be right. No, it's just getting dark.
I'm telling you. All right. So family, let's give you a rundown of the show today. First, we'll have the minister word of today. Right after that, we'll have a short commercial break. And then we'll have our main topic. Our main topic is Beyond the Walls, Rebuilding a Life on the Outside. Now, this is part 2, because we did part 1. This is part 2. We're going to be talking with our dear brother again today. And right after that, we'll go to another commercial break. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about maybe some resources that are available. We always talk about solutions on this show. So we try to have certain things that people can take back with them and take from the show. So we plan on having that available, and then we'll have a motivational quote by the host to end the show. So with no further ado, minister, what is the word of today?
And to the word of the day, we're going to continue with heal and healing, especially because when we were talking about this show about rebuilding, because healing is very important. So we're going to touch on it again and then expand a little bit. But basically, healing was to heal, which is to make free from injury or disease. Heal is to restore to health, to make well again. Heal is to restore to the original purity or integrity. It is the process in which a bad situation or painful emotion ends or improves. Now, quote was that sometimes God has to put you in a temporary situation to prepare you for your permanent position. So another important part about healing is in the institution of healing, it requires a process or a period of gradually regaining one's health, strength, vitality, abilities, soundness, and freedom to its original state, or one that is equal to or greater than before.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. It deserves that. Because we're going to be talking about that again today. And just thinking about heal, which we know that's a root word to health. And
Yes.
when we think about health, we think about health on a spiritual and a physical plane.
Yes.
And we all come from a place where we need healing. And so
Yes.
this is going to be something that we can surely use as a word today to keep our conversation going. And it's just deep. So we look forward to just implementing this word and the definitions that you shared. And I thank you, brother, for that word of today. And we'll go to a quick commercial break and we'll come back with our guest.
What do all these people have in common besides a beautiful smile, healthy teeth, and gums? They all use Zodi toothpaste. Zodi toothpaste is made with all natural ingredients. Zodi toothpaste is fortified with moringa and baking soda. Zodi toothpaste is suds-free, making it an excellent choice for kids. All natural, fortified, and suds-free. Get yours today at noistore.com.
Well, welcome back. And today we are again, well, this is part 2 of an episode that we did before. And like I mentioned before, Beyond the Walls, Rebuilding a Life on the Outside, part 2. And we will be welcomed again by our dear brother, Yeek Ezekiel, who has, like I mentioned before, has walked through the valley of the shadow of death and has made it through it. This brother here comes, well sound and healed. And we just want to welcome him back to the show. We are so happy to have you, brother. I know we introduced you more in our last show, but we just want to bring you back and welcome back to the show, my brother.
Yes, sir.
See, now that's an intro. Well, welcome back to the show, my dear brother. How you doing?
Beautiful, King. Beautiful. Glad to be here. I had an opportunity to speak with yourself, the brother minister, as well as the audience.
Yes, indeed. Well, we look forward to the show today. Our word of today is heal again. We know that going through a process like the process you have been through, like the process I have been through, and most processes we go through as a people, it requires some type of healing.
Yes.
So it's important that we attain that healing and in the ways that we can truly benefit from it. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we're at that point. And I know in our last show, we kind of went over, we talked about you being incarcerated. We talked about your mindset at that time. We went deep through the process of just being in the tomb. And we got to a point where we was looking at the process of what that looked like now, exiting the tomb. Are you still there with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we just lost
Yeah, we lost your video.
video.
Okay, he's back.
Okay, good. All right. One question, and then you can answer it if you don't feel comfortable answer, that's fine as well. When we're talking about like family relationship, one of the, a lot of times, well, I just share with the audience, me going through that process. I know my mother has always been that person that I always looked to. And I know I didn't ask you that before, and I know you've been in the tomb like 3 decades. What is your relationship like? What's your relationship with your mother? What was your relationship with your mother? And is she still here?
No, sir. My mother passed away about 13 years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Prior to that, right there, we had a great relationship. She was able to see the transformation from being a child and mentally. She was extremely proud of that right there.
Now, was you able to go, I guess, to a funeral during that time, or
No, sir.
what was the protocols inside the institutions that?
You have to be at a certain. You have to be at a certain custody level, and then you had to pay a certain amount of money.
Hmm.
And the custody level that they was required, due to my charges, I could never hit that level. So I was never allowed outside.
Okay. So
Okay.
you were not able to attend your mother's funeral, but even
Right.
if you could, they have stipulations around that when you're incarcerated that oftentimes we may not consider what someone inside an inmate may have to deal with, losing a family member.
Correct.
And the reason I bring that up is because we're talking about life on the outside and healing. And I hope you can speak to this, but healing is a process. And we talked about some of it in the last show, but even moving forward, because a lot of your healing, it began on the inside with the journey that you begin to take. But that healing, it's like in order to complete it, it's like, did you see that strong need for that? Or what would you see the need for family or support to go through healing versus someone trying to deal with that alone or with someone that's not like family or close?
You definitely need a team. Nobody in his life prospers. You look at any great individual, no matter the sport that he's in, he has a team. So it's the same thing. In order for you to grow from one stage of life, you need help. And to heal from the mental adversities, the mental tribulations that one goes through when incarcerated, you definitely need somebody that you can speak to be vulnerable with, to be able to exchange thoughts and ideas with that would allow you to grow in a manner that you will be able to mend yourself, that you'll be able to become a better person, to be able to rehab yourself. So a family structure, a friend structure is vital to the rehabilitation of anybody that has been through incarceration. Without that, your chances of coming on the outside and flourishing or thriving is very slim because you never address the mental issues. You know, and there's a stigma, especially in the Black community, that you don't need therapy.
Mm.
And therapy is something that's, can be given in a family members just by having somebody to listen to your problems, to be able to get things off of your chest by having a listening ear. So it's a strong possibility that without a family or friend support, that you're never going to become whole. You'll never be able to heal because we are not psychiatrists. So we don't know how to go about healing the wounds that we have accrued and accumulated over the years. Just like when we physically get sick, if we're not doctors, we don't have the remedy to be able to heal ourselves. That's why we have hospitals. Also, somebody that has a degree in this particular field that would allow us to come to them with our problem for a solution in the form of a prescription or the medication that they may give us or the different herbal remedies that they may prescribe for us. But we don't have the time set to develop that skill to become a doctor. So we need people that are in that particular profession. So it's the same thing when we have mental wounds. We need somebody that we be able to bounce those ideas off of, that can give us a perspective that would allow us to see things that we couldn't see ourselves and begin to put us on a path to heal ourselves. It's instrumental for anybody to have a support system in the form of friends or family, especially those that are incarcerated.
Yeah. Speaking of a listening ear, who was like your listening ear during the time that your mother had ascended from the earth?
Well, I have a close circle. I was able to dialogue with, and a few close family members that I was able to speak with. So I was able to immerse myself in conversation to put myself on a path. But prior to that, numerous of people had then died throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I had to develop a program that allowed me to breathe without the excess anger that would cause me to move from and put myself in a worse position. Because, like my family, they didn't want me to know that my mother had passed because they didn't know how I was going to react due to the closeness of me and her relationship.
Mm.
So it's imperative that you learn how to deal with that grief. And like I said, just like a doctor will have prescriptions for certain diseases, you need to develop that right there while you're incarcerated, as well as while you out here free. Because people deal with grief in different manners. And if you're not mentally strong, you may medicate yourself through self-destructive habits as drugs, alcohol, becoming promiscuous or becoming violent, because you don't know how to deal with that level of irateness, that level of anger. So you have to come up with a program to be able to allow you to learn how to deal with these emotions when they spring up, so that you are always in control. Because if not, those emotions can lead you down a path that you don't want to go, and a path that you can't extract yourself out of. So again, it's very important to have a circle. You look at the king, he had his disciples. And he told them to always love one another. Always, be there to uplift one another, to edify one another. So they had a circle where they can always go to certain people to be able to express their thoughts and ideas that's, the cause of their grief. So I think definitely a system needs to be put in place for dudes that are in prison that allow them to deal with that grief. Because if they don't know how to, going to revert back to what they know. And, being behind bars, level of emotion is anger, and then you want to project that anger out on somebody that's around you. So you can make your situation go from bad to worse due to you not being able to control your emotions.
Yeah, because the street is not going to be able to give you an answer. It can give you an answer, but that's going to be the wrong answer.
Right.
If you came from the street and if that's the only outlet, and see, part of that healing is, like you're saying, having that family, the friend, that circle, and that's important for those to understand that when someone is incarcerated, a family member, a friend, you have to be there so they can have that outlet.
No, it's definitely important.
Otherwise, they have nothing else to turn to. Like I said, if you return to if the street is the only outlet, that's going to be destruction and make a bad situation worse.
Right. And then just in your opinion, like when it comes to, I guess, some of the things that they have available inside the tomb, like for instance, what in your opinion, what is the chaplain's role?
The only thing the chaplain do is come down there and inform you that a particular family member or a close friend has passed away. and they will ask you, do you need somebody to talk to? And that's it. They don't have a program set to where if you say, yeah, I need some help, I need somebody to speak with, I need somebody that can analyze this right here. They don't have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
All they ask you is, do you feel you're going to harm yourself or harm others? And if you say yes, then they're going to put you in isolation.
Yeah.
They're going to confine you, and they're going to allow you to deal with the situation in confinement. And as I said, if you don't know how to mentally look into yourself to be able to analyze why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then how to overcome that, they're just making the situation go from bad to worse. Because now you're sitting there in isolation with those thoughts running rampant in your mind, and you have no cure for it. So they begin to get bigger and bigger and bigger, which leads dudes to become more destructive once they are let out. Then they feel that hatred toward the chaplain because you're promoting and you're espousing that your belief system is that which will heal, that which will cure. But yet you're not able to do that for me. So it causes them to become enraged toward organized religion.
So
the chaplain is.
You can say firsthand that even though they have a chaplain, that as far as rehabilitation or healing, there's no resources inside.
Absolutely not. There's nothing available to you to be able to change your condition, even without the physical passing of somebody. Program in place to allow me just to change my way of thinking. If I come to the chaplain and say, hey, sir, I'm mendacious, I'm a habitual liar, I'm a thief, I need to stop doing this. I have a desire to better myself. They don't have a program that will allow you to change your way of thinking. If I came to them and say, oh, I'm a program, they have a narcotics program that can show you steps to help you overcome your addiction. But for the average mental issue, there's no type of program in place.
Go back one more. Go back.
Emotionally.
Go back one more time. Share those programs again. I think you kind of broke up when.
Yeah, we heard it, then it broke up.
So I won't.
One more time.
Yeah, I want to hear those programs
that you say they didn't have.
Yeah, they don't have any programs to help you out mentally. The only programs they have is for anybody that's on alcohol or on drugs. They have programs for that right there. And I guess within those programs, they may have certain steps or the protocol that they have from that particular addiction. But for me, just having general character flaws like lying, stealing, being violent, set up to allow me to change my thinking from wrong to right. It's just like the average person out here. They can't heal me. They can just tell you, oh, word. But the Bible covers a diverse amount of subject matters. So if you don't give me a particular curriculum that will address vice that I have, then I won't be able to overcome that particular vice. So as I said, if I'm a liar, then I need the scriptures that will align me with how to overcome that. Don't just tell me to read this book, and this book is gigantic, and it may not hit the specific vice that I have. Right. So even though I may read this book, if I don't know how to line up those particular scriptures that will address my particular problem, then I'm going to leave with the same issue. It's like a doctor. When you go, you have to tell him what is your particular disease, what is your particular ailment. That's the only way he can give you a prescription, and he'll know how to diagnose what's going on to be able to give you some type of temporary cure to your problem. But if you tell him you don't know what the problem is, then he can't produce a solution. because there's too many things that can be going wrong inside of your body that you don't have enough time to sit there and try to diagnose. So that's why they ask questions. What was the things that you ate? Where you hurting at? How long is this pain consistent? They don't do that with the mental aspect.
Yeah, I mean, because especially when it comes to the scripture, there has to be a form of guidance there when it comes to it. Because if you're dealing with a person that don't have any guidance, how you expect to give them something and they gain that guidance by themselves? You have to have a teacher, you know. One of the questions I want to ask you before I move to something else, unless you had something else on that.
No, just
is-
like what he's saying. It's clear. It's like saying what they're saying is here. We're going to give you aspirin,
Mm.
and that's go heal everybody problems.
right.
That aspirin might help one or two situations,
Hmm.
but you got 50 different ailments. You just giving out aspirin.
Hmm.
That's not a solution. The other people still gonna need some healing, or they still gonna be sick because the aspirin not gonna fix everything.
Yeah, and that's true because you have some brothers that come into there, and I know a brother that have sentences, and when they go into the tomb, is some drug that they would give them if they ask for it to kind of just take them from the, I guess, just being present, if you will, in that moment. I don't know I'm pretty sure you may be familiar with whatever drug that is they may give to some of the brothers to keep them isolated mentally from the reality of what's going on at that time. So they got many different drugs I think that they would give to inmates based off of them requesting that drug, especially those that may have not connected with their family or may have lost family early on, you know, before even coming into or going into the tomb. But just that's reflecting back like on the hierarchy when we talk about like we're talking about the chapel, and I'm not sure you probably can share this, and I know you've been in different institutions, and I'm pretty sure every institution is not the same when it comes to the hierarchy part. Like, um, speak on that. Like, if you were to like, if they were to pass where approve that is for you to be able to go to a loved one's funeral, who would be that individual, or what would that hierarchy look like as far as
Well,
who would be the
the
person?
process that they have in place, it starts with the warden.
Okay.
The warden will get with classification. Classification are the people that your everyday guidance. They determine your job, living conditions. They determine whether you go outside the gate or not. So classification will be the first step. They're going to pull up your records. They're going to see your charges. They're going to see how much time you have left. They're going to see your uh, DR history. And they're going to see, and based on all of that information, they're going to deem whether you a threat or whether you're capable of going outside of the gate and coming back with no problem. Once they do that, they will send it up the ladder to the assistant warden, the warden, which they call the ICT team, which is a 3-person panel that everybody's course of action as far as the inmate, as far as, like I said, the jobs and everything. So the final say-so will be the warden, and then he will send it to Tallahassee. Prove that your custody is low enough and that you have been a model inmate, and they will send it to Tallahassee. And Tallahassee is the supreme, and they will make the final determination of whether they're going to let you outside that gate to attend a loved one's funeral or not. And if Tallahassee approve it, then they'll get back with that institution. And then that institution will get with, depending on how much time you have left, they will get with the local police department, and you will have to pay for an escort. But if your time is, if you're going home within 6 months or less, and you've been a model inmate, then they'll just let you out on what's called a furlough. And you may get a 24-hour or 48-hour furlough, and you get to leave and come back on your own account. You have nobody with you. So that's the process that they got set up. And it's a strict process because they
it seems like a lengthy process. If a loved one passed away today and the funeral is Saturday, and you have to petition, I guess, based off what you're saying, going through the warrant classification, like, what's that turnaround time?
And then you
No,
got to
that process, even though it goes through a lot of people, that process is real quick.
Oh, okay.
They understand that most funerals are either a week or two after the person's passing. So, like I said, they have your records right there. Everything is visible, so all they got to pull it up. And they can, within a few minutes, the classification going to determine, no, this dude is not worthy of going out this gate, or yes. So the process maybe take 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
It's an extremely fast process because they understand, the motivation behind it. So that's the fastest process in the prison system.
Okay. Okay, because I'm thinking even with the classification officer, I think you have to send in a request to be able to see the classification officer, right? Or do
correct. But
okay.
With that process, what makes it fast and expedient is that somebody from the streets will call and inform the chaplain or inform your classification officer of what has occurred. So the classification will link up with these people, whatever family member or friend it was, because they want proof that this is true. That they ain't just trying to get you out the gate so you can make a run for it.
Right.
So they're gonna want, the out certificate, they're gonna want to call the morgue. So they got a process that they're gonna go through to make sure it's that particular person. Because if you're calling up there saying, oh, Mr. Johnson's mother or brother has just passed, they want to be able to verify that right there. So they have a system in place for that right there. That's one of the things they already have a system in place for, because they had enough foresight to know that once we built these prisons right here and began to incarcerate people, that one of the things that was going to occur is either close family members or friends was going to pass away while they're in here. So we need to have a system that can help, assuage the grief from that right there by allowing them to be able to go to the funeral if they meet the criteria and the requirements for that right.
Okay.
And I heard you did mention that if you weren't getting on a furlough, you'd have to give it a local police department to get an escort. And I'm sure the state don't pay for it. That would be on the family to pay for that, or do
Correct.
You should pay for it?
That would be on the family members to pay for that police.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's why I say it's a lot of things in place that, and it's very rare that they allow inmates to do that right there, because most inmates don't fit the criteria.
Mm-hmm. So in that case, it'd be in their best interest to go ahead and deny it at the classification step.
Well, that's where it's going to get denied at. But most inmates already know I don't qualify.
Mm-hmm. So they don't even.
No matter what
process.
I ain't gonna never qualify. So ain't no need to even asking them people, and they knew not even to ask me because they would be wasting their time and my time.
Right.
So well, that's almost like a list. That sounds like that's more for white collar crimes that they have lower classifications and they allow them. But if most of us who go in for a different kind of crime, our classification is automatically going to be higher, which means we automatically not, in most cases, not going to get access to that.
Yeah.
Correct. It starts off like that, but as even though you may have a high rated crime, as you begin to do the time and you may get toward the end of your time, they have what they call custody. You have minimum, you have medium, and then you have what is called close. So the guys that are minimum are the guys that you may see on the side of the road doing DOT work. So those are the guys that got the chance of being able to go because they already working outside the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not in and most of those guys be at what they call work camps. So if you're not there, your chances are very slim of going out because of your charges. They hold and they use what you're in prison for as the main gauge to determine, wow, no matter how much time has elapsed, no matter how much they have so-called rehab you, they're gonna punish you for what you originally came to prison for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they seeing you off of the information that they have on their computer. They're not seeing you for the person that you have evolved into, 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. They're only going to go off of what you was originally in prison for.
I remember I had close custody, and I always used to wonder why I got close custody. I don't have a violent crime. I don't have anything. I still have close custody, and I think this for people, and for whomever that's listening to the show, if you have a loved one that's inside and that may have close custody or something like that, and they may not have committed a violent crime or something that will call for them to have close custody. Maybe check with the classification and see why they have close custody. Because I found out with myself, the reason why I had close custody is because I had a traffic case that I had to go back to court to clean up. I guess I had to go back and deal with that because until I dealt with that, they was going to keep me close because they said if I would have finished my sentence at that time, I would have been redirected back to the county to deal with the traffic court anyway. So they kept me on close custody because of that. But I should not have been on close custody because of my charge at the time. But once that was done, they sent me back and they ran that concurrent, came back, like my brother was alluding to, was able to get out on uh, DOT and some other things. They let me into the warehouses. I was able to work in the warehouse and operate a forklift and do a lot of different stuff. But until that happened, I was stuck on close custody at that time. So if there's anyone out there listening, don't feel like your loved one is should be on close custody, maybe you want to look into that to make sure that that's not the case with them. But I know we talked about a lot in our last show, and it was just some points that I want to get some clarity on, and I want our audience to get some clarity on when it comes to being inside of the tomb and what that looks like, and then how you navigate that. And we talked about all this here in our last show. So please go back to our last show. That was part 1, and that was Live Talk episode season 5, episode 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think episode 1. This is episode 3.
Is it? Let me make sure.
Yeah, this is episode 3. So go back to
That was season 5. I thought that was episode 1.
Yeah, 1.
Okay.
Yeah, episode 1, and we're at 3 now.
Shouldn't this be 2?
No, we had 2 already. 2 was we talked about the new laws in Florida.
He was not with us for 2.
He was not with us for 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what. Okay, I'm looking at his notes.
Yeah.
Brother Ezekiel. Okay, but hey, I got a question for him. Unless you go move into something else that I want to see if he can answer.
No, definitely. I just want to let the audience know a lot of the stuff we did talk about is on episode the episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah, but
this
go right
is
ahead.
Second episode with him, but it's episode 3, but it's second show.
Second show with him. Yes.
Second show, but episode 3. Yeah, Brother Ezekiel. Here's it, because I like to say you're a testimony of being able to make it through. And I really want to stress to have to be coming through with a sound mind, not just a sound body, which is important, but to have a sound mind, to listen to you because you're very eloquent and you're on the other side. And now that you're on the other side, especially for some of those who may be getting close to that, have family members near there or going through it, what are some of the benefits that you have seen, some of the challenges, like what are the challenges you had to deal with, but some of the rewards at the same time, now that you are on the other side, some of the biggest challenges or rewards?
Well, the greatest challenge for me was being able to learn society. That's still the biggest challenge because this world is totally different. So learning how to just live on a day-to-day basis, learning to get a job, live on your own, learning to get transportation. Everything that most people take for granted, this was a whole new process. So these are still the biggest challenges. You know, learning how to navigate phones, learning how to navigate computers. You know, so those are the obstacles to overcome. And if you don't have a team to help guide you through this right here, then it's going to be extremely difficult if you don't have the self-discipline. And I see why a lot of men continually go back and forth between prison, because the way the society is set up is if you don't have a team setting that will help you reach the goals that you have set for yourself, then you can become frustrated, which going to lead to disappointment. You give up. And when you give up, you're going to fall back naturally into what you're comfortable with. And what you've been comfortable with is the same activities that led you to prison in the first place. So as I said before, there needs to be some type of program in place that will allow you to become a part of, so that you can ease yourself back into society. Something similar to like a mentorship. Somebody that can help you answer your questions, somebody that can help be like your mental GPS system, because they already have been out here. They are already thriving out here and can show you how to plug in. Because a lot of guys that's getting out here, you know, it's a cultural shock. And they have anxiety. I speak with a lot of guys that get out and they like, you know, they have anxiety because they're not people operate out here in the world. You know, you come from a close society that has a different set of rules that govern the behavior of the men in there. Then you step out. Society has a different set of rules that govern their behavior. So that mental adjustment is, I think, the biggest impediment to a man's progress or a woman's progress that's coming out of prison. So that's why it's extremely important to need and have to help guide you through that right there. But the benefit that's being out here is no matter what, you have that opportunity to become whatever you want in life. You have no restrictions on you. You're able to carry yourself to whatever heights you choose because you're out here. You have the tenacity to seek out the resources that you would need to help you accomplish whatever goal that you have set for yourself. But sadly, most of the men come out of here with a lack of ambition. They're not goal orientated. And therefore, they don't set up a structure that would allow them through a process that they create to reach the goals that they set. While you're in prison, you have structure. prison tells you the time frames of what to do, what needs to be done in order for the prison to continue to revolve on its axis. Outside that gate, that structure is gone. It's obliterated. So if you don't know how to create structure, because you may go to an atmosphere that don't have it, friend or family member that don't have structure. So you're taking one person from one extreme mental to another extreme mental. And like physically, you know, you can't take the human body from cold and then put it in extreme heat because you'll develop hypothermia. You have to defrost that person in degrees. So it's the same thing mentally. So without some type of superstructure place that that person can go to, then you're setting them up for failure because you're going from one extreme to another. And if that person doesn't have the self-discipline to make that a reality, then this is why the recidivism rate is so high. If some of the obstacles is you got to have that one, self-discipline. Two, you have to have a program in place that will allow you to reach those goals. Three, you have to have goals. And most people don't set goals for themselves. They just live in the moment. They're not look and see what's going to be needed days, weeks, months, or years down the line. So for myself, the hardest obstacles have been just readjusting to society because I had been gone for so long. And, you know, seeing the technology, seeing how people operate, and getting to know people. That's, I think, for prisoners is the biggest concern because we're seeing so much of the dark side of human nature that when we come out, it's hard to trust. Okay. It's hard to get to know people because that society has is not the value system that you're used to, even down to the language. The way people speak to each other out here is totally different than how you address men in prison. So,
yes, sir. We had a comment that came in. You want to address the comment?
See it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. So you doing the reading, right? Go ahead, sir.
I've been trying to figure out how to comment. This is late. Nevertheless, that information about the closed quarters, Jeremiah couldn't do anything because of traffic issue. That is great to know. Because it sounds like somebody may have had that concern.
Well, the biggest thing about that is just in case somebody is going through that, you know, it's important to understand that they can hold your family member close custody. Let's say somebody passed away, like what we're talking about, and now they can't go to the funeral because they close custody. And a lot of times what the classification officers do, they're going to look at that and they're going to see, oh, he close custody, and they're not going to go deep into it. All they want to see is he close custody. No.
But it's a traffic issue that's caused.
Right. They don't see none of that. You know, so now a person got to go back and find out what that is, and it can be something as simple as a traffic ticket. And somebody, the crazy thing about it, somebody was using my name while I was inside, got a traffic ticket.
Yep.
So I had to get out. I had to go back to court, rectify that, and you know, and come back just the complete my sentence, you know, at that time. And I was young, you know, this was way back in the days, but it was something that happened, and we just want to inform the community and our audience about certain things like that.
And we do have another question on it that says, does the government help with finding those programs, or is it on the person or person's family?
So this going back to my dear brother, and it's something I can share, but like you exiting the tomb, like there are certain programs, and I'm thinking this what our listener is, yeah. are you finding those programs to kind of help assist you, or are those programs I guess is the institution providing those programs, or are you going through like a family member to find out about these programs?
What programs?
Okay, thank you.
I ain't never seen them have no programs.
Okay, so what I guess what's being mentioned in regards to the programs, like for instance, um, share with the audience, you exiting the tomb, what was available for you, and like how did you find out about it?
Nothing was available to me.
Okay.
They didn't give me any type of program they didn't give me any type of help. They didn't do anything. Get out.
So
Go on your own, find your own way. There was nothing to help me out. Absolutely nothing.
you were on your own.
You were on your own. The moment I stepped across that gate, DOC gave me a bill of divorcement, and I ain't heard from them since. There was no programs, nothing, no halfway house, no shelter, none of that you could go to.
Mm.
It was all on you. So if you didn't have family, you didn't have friends, then you was just in a bad spot.
Which lead me to go ahead.
What I think is too, like, and I guess it depends, like if you're doing state time versus federal time, there's different. Like people say they have a halfway in the work, but that's not for all situations.
Now, I will say this, like you just said, it's not for all situations. So, like I remember on our last show, you alluded to at one point in time, you didn't feel like you would ever get out.
Correct.
I think for those, and we're talking the difference between custody levels, right? Since we own that, we're talking about, I think he talked about minimal, medium, and close custody. When you're at a certain custody level, they do have certain things that you can take advantage of, like myself, for instance. And when I came back out, I was at medium, which they later put at minimal, but medium. Medium allowed me to go outside the gates. Okay. Now, until it got to the point where it was kind of minimal, where now I can go into like a permanent party work release. So going into like a permanent party work release, this allows for me to what? Get my license. It allows for me to do certain things that if I was out at the time, I may not have, like my dear brother here may not have had that assistance, but it allowed me to do that. It allowed me to get a job. So now that I'm out, I have money and I'm able to provide for myself. I'm able to set goals for myself because I still have family, like my dear brother. Like I said, we're so sorry you lost your mother, because I'm pretty sure that was your heart and your soul. I still had my mother. So I'm able to, with the help of family, regain entry back into the system in a way that is beneficial to me now. That I can build up on something, build my funds up, and then go back to school and then be able to get into my own career, my own job, run my own business. There's some brothers like that, they may have those resources, but like my dear brother is sharing right now, he didn't have those resources. At one point in time, he didn't know if he was going to get out. And I find a lot of brothers like that will get out, don't have those resources, and end up right back into the institution because they only know one thing to do at that point in time if they haven't rehabilitated themselves. Because like he also mentioned, there's no rehabilitation in there like that unless you rehabilitating yourself. And he went through the process of rehabilitating himself. So he understands right from wrong. He understands some things that need to take place in order for him to stay on the outside. And with that being said, because you talked about a team and you talked about support. What kind of support have you received since you've been released, and has it been sufficient support?
The only support I've received is from certain family members and friends. And it's been sufficient because it was mainly, like I said, emotional support and social support as far as helping me learn how to live in this particular society right here. You know, giving me a place to live, giving me an understanding of, you know, how to learn how to, you know, use credit cards,
Mm.
you know. So the support has been sufficient as far as those mainstays or main staples in life have been concerned. I've had certain people that's definitely have given me their all as far as making sure that my transition be as comfortable as possible. You know, but the main thing was part of living, you know, out here you need finance.
Right.
So you needed a job, you needed a source of income. And because of the time that I had in prison, they never allowed me to develop a skill set. Like you were just speaking about work release, I could never go there.
Mm-hmm.
So I can never get a chance to be able to build up any type of finance. So the support of the family, you know, they're going to give you the resources that they got. And, you know, most of our family members are living right at or below the poverty line. So economically, ain't too much they can do for you. You know, they're going to offer you all that they have, but if you don't learn how to lower your standards, materialistic wise, then this is why dudes put themselves on the path that they get back into the streets because the money is not sufficient for them to live up to what they think they should have. You know, and this is why I'm forever grateful for the teachings of the Mill of Yahweh Ben Yahweh. It taught me how to see what's important in this life, and that if I allow his wisdom to grow in me, then it would create ideas that would allow me to produce an industry that will bring me all the wealth that I need. But anything in life, there is a process that goes through it. You don't just drop a seed in the ground and tomorrow it becomes a full-grown tree. It takes time to develop. It needs to be cultivated. It needs to be nurtured. So that same process that you're going through out here, and like I said, especially it's harder for me because I didn't have a particular skill set. So you're going to have to take any type of manual labor job that's available to you until you can learn how to develop a particular skill set. And which is, I'm grateful for the online lifestyle that's rampant now because you can still be doing a regular job, but you can be learning a skill set online at the same time to be able to better your financial situation. It's just a matter of being sedulous and the level of commitment that you have to get where you want as far as reaching the goals that you have set for yourself economically and not being impecunious or foolish with your spending. So these are the things that, like I said, I'm eternally grateful to the Savior Yahweh for being able to give me that self-rulership, to be able to understand that I got the patience to be able to grow into whatever I choose to become. But you're only going to go as far as your team can allow you to go. So the team that I have, you know, they have put me on the path to allow me to grow. That they had, you know, and some guys that come out of prison with a phenomenal financial team. You know, someone will come out with no financial team. So that's why I say it depends on the discipline that a person have the heights that they can grow to. And unfortunately, a lot of guys lack that. And this is why prison, because again, they fall back on trying to get the fast money, and that's because those are the people that in their circle. The mass majority of dudes that's getting out of prison go back to the atmosphere that they was raised in. So they're going back to the same family members, the same friends. And if those people are on the same activity that led them to prison, and this is who they're around, then it's no wonder that the recidivism rate is so high.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be able to extract yourself out that criminal mentality first while you're in prison. That's the first step, so that when you get out of here, it'll be a cakewalk. So as the king said, you'll be in the world, but not of the world, because you can see those people indulging in those activities, and it doesn't appeal to you because your way of thinking has been altered. And now you know the work that you have to put in to be able to reach the economic goals that you have set for yourself. But if you don't have goals, then yeah, it's easy to fall back into anything. So I have a system of people that's, keeping me mentally on the path that I need to go on in every aspect. I have certain friends that I can speak about, to develop the mental, the moral, and the spiritual. And then I have to help the social and the physical. So I have people that have a particular position. It's like if we was playing a sport, you have position. You have football, you have people that can play your quarterback, your running back, your wide receiver, and so forth. So you have to have people in position in your kingdom. So I approach my life as a company, and my company got to have certain areas in order for my company to flourish.
Indeed. Question for you: how long you been out?
I do. 10
Huh?
months now.
10 months.
10 months.
And when I look, because I can see you on the screen, and behind you, it don't look like a cell. It don't look like you up under the bridge nowhere neither.
You're not on the bridge. You're in a cardboard box.
So when you're talking about the benefits, I'm pretty sure you can attest to one of the benefits to be able to have your own place and be in your own comfort zone. How is that to you?
The greatest benefit is, as you said, now allowing somebody else to govern your life. So you consider yourself a man, so you don't want somebody else telling you how to live. You don't want to have to live with somebody you don't know. That's the greatest benefit of not being in the cell. Having your own place, it gives you that peace of mind. You get to come home, you ain't got to worry about dealing with attitudes that are not in alignment with yours. And that's, for me, it's motivation, to have my own place to continue to grow. Having an apartment now, the next step is, okay, I got to get the resources up so I can get me a house. Never be content. You constantly want to grow. And you can look back at where you came from.
Right.
And then you can see your gradual process. And that's letting you know that it may not be as fast as you want it to be, but you can see the progress. Right. That progress for me is the motivation to daily keep growing.
I think a lot of times, in this society, we think about quick gratification when it comes to we want something quick, fast, and in a hurry, and no one is willing to work for, that and achieve those goals. Even if it take a year, take 2 years, 3 years, to accomplish that, putting together a mission to be able to see that vision down the road. We're looking for quick gratification, and a lot of time that quick gratification ends us right back into the situation we was in before that we wanted to do away with, but now we're dealing with that same situation again, whether it's incarceration or being homeless on the street. Sometimes we can make those decisions that can cause either or. We got enough.
And they getting smarter. They getting smarter with the way they catch criminals.
Oh, definitely.
So when you think you're getting smarter, they 2 steps ahead of you.
But
putting you back.
But see, this is the thing. We have like the generation now, and maybe the generation before. There was a generation at one point in time that hold fast to not. So I say snitching. I'm trying to think of another word, you know, if you will, but a lot of information when it comes to them finding out about what goes on in our community comes from within our community, and it's not to condone any illegal stuff that's going on, but for those that are seeking to do illegal stuff, you need to know that there's not nothing that they don't know about. So you're not going to get by and think it's going to be gravy on the other. No, it's not going to be, because they already found out about it. All they're doing is building up a case on you right now to make sure that you're stuck inside. We have another comment.
Yes, we do have another comment, and we are like 11 minutes after.
I'm gonna try to address that comment. I see about the resources.
Okay.
And yes, the question is, and it is crazy because they say that they got rehabilitation, but and what the brother is saying, and to be candid, like they say that is it's supposed to be
a correctional
institution, or it's supposed to be real. In the United States, our penal system is not about rehabilitation. It is purely punishment. It is a punishment system. It is not a rehabilitation system. And what I guess is saying is the resources that he used when he got out was his circle, meaning he found some friends, family that he could connect with to get him the resources he needed. His main source was mentally getting himself prepared to know what he was dealing with, because he accepted that there were no resources out here. Now, you may hear about halfway houses or systems, anything like that. It's going to be on the individual or the individual's family to find it, because the correction system is not going to give you anything other than, I've heard a few say, you got X amount of dollars or you got a bus ticket to get you somewhere. And once that's over, it's totally on you.
Right.
But if you break any rules, they definitely coming after you. But as far as job placement, housing, and those things, it does not exist, because our system is about punishment. It is not about rehabilitation.
There, and I
unless now you have private
mm-hmm.
But that will be something. For example, there are some church institutions or nonprofits, but that's not available through the prison system or the jail system. Those are resources you'd have to seek out on your own to find out what they are and what their criteria may be.
And I did have, but what we are, again, sir, I don't want to go past our time as
we actually passed 13 minutes.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about some resources that are available. And then I want my brother to be able to share with us if he chose any of these resources, or even if they're, reliable resources. So we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hi, my name is Joe, and I'm an enrolled agent with Scott & Associates accounting firm. As you can see, we work diligently for our clients, making sure that all of their tax and accounting needs are met. Come take a walk with me.
At Scott & Associates, we pride ourselves in providing exceptional service to our clients. We firmly stand behind all of the work that we do. However, we have also put measures in place to protect our clients should something ever go wrong.
To schedule a tax appointment for your business or personal need, text or call us today at 321-754 1360. And remember, you can always count on Scott.
All right, welcome back. And what we're going to do now, because we always try to talk about solutions on the show. Everyone, and I know my brother don't have his full team together, but he did get a little assistance. But having, to his point, having a team is very important. Which in when he said team, is having that support system. Is very important, especially when you're coming out to nothing. One of the things that I came across, it was a website, and this particular website is called Florida Department of Corrections, but is I'm gonna try to, and I thought I had it so that my engineer can put it up on the screen, but I don't. But it's pubapps dot. Can you type this in? It's PUBA when you get there. You there? APPS dot FDC dot myflorida.com. And then it's / resource directory. Yeah, / resource directory. And then it has a / search dot ASPX. But at this particular website, and let me see what you got up there so I can make sure that's do the / on the back end there. Change that one. And then it's resource directory. Before that one. After resource, put directory. And then put your / and then put search dot ASPX. ASPX. Yes. Put it up there so I can see. Let me see. Put it on the screen. It was my Florida, not my, but my FL might work, but it's Florida was actually spelled out. The reason I'm sharing this here, I thought I had it already set to be displayed on the screen, but when you go to this particular website, what happens is if you go to this website, it's going to ask you, you're going to have different options for you, like as far as if you're looking for a job, you're looking for family counseling, you're looking for food stamps, you're looking for anything that can aid you while you're out. It allows for you to select on that dental care. You put the county that you reside in. Let's say, for instance, right now, I'm gonna put in here employment. You go to Orange County, and what it does, it brings up different resources that are in your area. Like when I look up, like Orange County, for instance, it's gonna say HD Counseling LLC. So this is like, and this is like East Colonial. If you're here in Orlando, you know what I'm talking about. But it deals with anger management, career counseling, family counseling, financial counseling, job placement. There's another one that called Recovery Connections of Central Florida. It deals with job placement. There's another one that says Total Health Guidance. That one kind of deals with domestic violence, anger management. There's one like, for instance, you have the career source of West Orange. We have many different career source centers here in Orlando, and a lot of the career source centers deal with counseling. Some deals with counseling, some definitely deal with job placement. setting up a resume, internet access, because you can go right in there and you can apply for a job. And last but not least that I had on this list was Florida Department of Education vocational rehab. And then one of the locations was right off of McGuire Boulevard, right here in Orlando. But it deals with a number, a host of things that one could take advantage of, when exiting the institution. And then there's a lot of other places that I looked up when it comes to like resources that centered around someone exiting the tomb and looking for work, or looking for counseling, or food stamps, etc. And I found that fascinating, because I guess I had, to my brother's point, I had some family members that could assist with, and then and of course I was able to get a job at the time, and then I didn't spend as much time as my dear brother did inside. So some of the things that I may have received from family, close families and friends, and being able to go through work release, is a lot of brothers that don't have that. So the resources are real. You need those resources. But let me ask you something, brother. Was you ever exposed to any of this here?
No,
Okay. Another
never
question
get.
for you, because one of the things that our brothers and sisters deal with when exiting the tomb, especially after being there so long, what about your civil rights? Have you regained back your civil rights? Have you been working on that?
No, sir. Didn't even know you could get your civil rights back.
Mm. But that's something that we can talk about, because that's probably something that I can help you with
There's
on
a
that level.
process, but it can be done. You
Yeah.
can do it, but yes,
Hmm.
to get your rights restored.
Yeah. And we'll be in touch with that, because I know we're coming up on the end of the show, but I will share like a resource for you. And it's Florida Recovery. What's the name of them? It's FRRC. What the But they help with clemency and restoring your rights back. It's called Florida Recovery. Well, oh, Florida Rights Restoration. Yeah. So there are another organization that helps with, getting your civil rights back, helping with you getting your voting rights back. Some of those things that cater to you becoming a citizen and just being activated back into the system and doing some of your civic duties, as far as voting and having your civil rights. But those are some things that we will talk about. I don't know, Minister, if you had something.
I'll just add that, and I know the comment that was in the chat, and even to the brother, because we are now in a technological society and the information age, there are resources that are available, but you have to seek them out. The prison systems are not giving them to you.
Mhm.
That they don't do it.
Right.
But there are resources that are out there. Some may be sponsored by taxpayer dollars, some maybe by nonprofits, but you do have to be able to search them out on your own. And you can find them doing searches on the internet and then see if what they offer is like they may have some transitional housing,
Mhm.
but it might be a ministry, but that'll be, well, is that ministry right for me?
Right.
Or it might be some work type things that help inmates get back into the work, and they may offer some programs, but you got to make sure it could be in Sarasota, it could be in Miami, it could be in Orlando, but you have to research. The beauty now is because we do have the internet, you can find them, but you have to find the resources that are in your area,
Mhm.
because you're not going to find them from the institution. Once you're out, all they're looking for is to bring you back in.
Right.
That's basically it.
Right. And there are resources out there, and it's sad that, if a person is leaving a tomb after decades that those resources is not like in a a folder saying like, here go all your resources,
You
get
would
your life
think.
back together.
You
you
would think.
know, yeah.
But see, that's because they want you to get it from the street
Mhm.
because they want to fill that bed back up.
Right.
It's like it's not about rehabilitation. See, you travel to another country, and now I still feel America's probably one of the greatest
Mhm.
countries on the planet, but there are other systems who their penal system actually has rehabilitation.
Right.
Like it literally is about rehabilitation from the day you going in to the day you getting out.
Right.
Because we come from that shadow slavery thing.
That's it right there.
It's about punishment here.
Mhm.
It's strictly about punishment
Mhm.
for the most part.
In capitalism.
And
How can I get somebody to work for free?
it's a private
And
prison
make
system.
yeah.
It's private. So it's like if it's private and they put money in it, what do you think they there for?
Right.
Strictly to make money
That's it. It sure is.
at the expense of inmates,
Right.
which is people.
Well, we're coming to the last few minutes of the show. So, brother, I'm going to give you the floor. What would you like to leave with the audience, based off your experience and something that could be motivational and inspiring to them in regards to your path?
If you have family members that's in prison, most definitely tell them to begin to develop their minds to be able to come out here into this world and succeed, to allow them to get the resources. As the brother said, send them this type of information because they don't have access to it themselves. And for the brothers or sisters that's getting out of prison, know that your lifestyle has to be in accord with your skill set so that you can flourish out here. Don't allow your desires to overcome you and then cause you to get back into activities that led you to prison in the first place. And be an advocate to be able to help others that's getting out. So get yourself into some kind of mentor program, some type of community program, because that you have can be a help behind you. So don't just forget about the struggle that you have just left. Allow yourself to be used as a vessel to be able to help others.
All right. And minister?
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is your first wealth is your health.
Mm.
And it's all about your physical health, but it's just as important your mental health. And that's what my brother is stressing. You got to heal your mind. It sounds simple, but it's very complicated. It's complex. If you don't heal yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. And that means if you need help, reach out and get that help. But it has to start from within. The change has to take place from within, so then it can come and you can help others. And Brother Ezekiel is a testament of someone who can go through doing that much time, but then still come out on the other side. And I don't hear anger.
Right.
I don't hear hatred. I don't hear I'm getting ready to get put right back in there, because that's what happens.
Right.
And we don't want to see that.
Now you see somebody that's happy to be out and want to stay out.
Always.
That's what I hear. Well, I want to thank you, my dear brother, for coming on and sharing that with the audience. It definitely won't be your last time coming on. You definitely come on again, even if it's in another capacity. There was some other things that I wanted to kind of add so that the audience and just to be clear, a lot of these questions that we ask, we know, like I said in the beginning, you've been through the valley of the shadow of death, but you made it through it. So there's someone else that's walking that road, those steps, and they want to know, how do I get beyond where I'm at right now today? Can I do it? They want to be somebody to motivate them and inspire them to get to that next level. So having somebody on like yourself can give that person that's looking for that motivation that they need to make it to that next level.
Hope.
The hope that they need. the strength that they need. And speaking of strength, I want to go to the quote that I had for today, and this comes from Gandhi. And it says, strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. Now, indomitable means cannot be subdued or overcome or unconquered. And when I think about your spirit and your growth, it could not be subdued by what was presented to you or the situation that you was in. You was able to overcome that. And I have to give kudos to you because I have known you for a very long time. We met early on in the 90s, you know, but to get to this point here, it has truly been a testament to your strength, you know, and your fortitude. And I think you spoke of that before. And I think for anybody that's listening to this show or go back to part 1, part 2, will have to commend you for that. And then at the same time, if you're going through that, definitely can look up to you as a motivation at this point. And we know you got, you know, you only been out 10 months, but you have to me, honestly, being away 3 decades, you have accomplished a lot being out 10 months. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's a lot. And I you know, I want you to continue on. We always communicate on the spiritual plane, and we're connected spiritually. And I want that relationship, our relationship, to continue to grow. And I pray to the Most High that you continue on that same path and the road that you're on right now, and keeping that same spirit. And I'm just gonna say, you know, from the host, I like to say peace and prosperity. And from Live Talk, we are out.
Thank you for watching Live Talk. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Talk Orlando. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit on the notification button so that you can see more videos like this. You want to join the show? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com. You can also follow the host on Facebook and Instagram at Arthur Jeremiah. And visit the website, thenoystore.com, to pick up your copy of The Spiritual Significance of a Name.